Hi, welcome to Crafted Sweetly. I'm Deanna. Thanks so much for being here. In this video, I'm going to do something a little different. I've already started the book here, and this pattern is about 330 pages or so. It has the ink saver. I made this pattern using the FOTO Book Art app, and I have a link below for it. It's really easy. It's photo with an F. photobookart.com, and you can create your own patterns either using the ink saver or over the whole strip area. I've already cut out some because I've already started the project. If you've seen any of my videos, I kind of go over a couple of these pages and my technique as far as applying these. I've cut the strips out, and I did score the strips. As you can see, possibly there's the score line, maybe. And then it makes it a little bit faster. I've gone kind of back and forth whether or not to score them, and I do find that it's a little faster to fold them in half if I score it. And then once I fold it, let me move this slightly out of the way here. Then I will use a bone folder to give it a crisper fold. So this is like extremely sharp, almost not sharp, but it's not rounded because I've used the bone folder for it. And I do cut the top part off, and then so as you know, in some of my earlier videos, I have shown different techniques, but the more you do these, you kind of develop a system and a rhythm to your own folding, and you'll see what works best for you. I've cut the tops off, and then the bottom I leave on with the number just in case I knock it over, or the whole pile. I like to fold maybe 30 pages or so, or 30 strips, and then apply them to the book instead of folding one, putting everything down, and then applying it. So I'll fold a couple of strips here. See, it was just really easy to fold it because it was already scored. And then press down. So I'll set these to a side and get this back in line here. The book stand makes it easy because you can kind of have both hands free. And I used to use my phone. I'd put my phone on top of the book, and sure, that works. But it just makes it easier this way. And the double-sided, when I do the double-sided tape, I do it at the top and the bottom. Again, over course of time of doing these, I'm kind of changing some of the techniques. I used to have it at the bottom, at the top, and then somewhere in the middle. But I don't think it's necessary to do the middle as well. So let me get double-sided tape. This one is actually out. And what I like about these tapes is that the tape is refillable. So instead of having to toss this entire thing in the trash, you just replace the inside. And I have a link below for this as well. All right, so I do a little bit of tape here and a little bit of tape here. I think glue can be messy and it doesn't dry as fast. At least I haven't found one that is as fast as this. And then I'll take the strip and put it underneath, along the page. And this travels along the page like this. I will push it back to the top of the book here, make sure it's completely at a T here. And then at that point, I'm going to press it down. And what you want to do is make sure that this is pressed all the way in against the page. If it's not, what's going to happen is some of your pages may be sticking out. So you want everything to be completely smooth and flush. If it's not, and occasionally it happens to me, if it's not, it's because this is not completely against the page. And then I will actually go back and see if I can take the strip off gently and reposition it so that it's all the way in. And then I'll just take scissors and take this part off here, right along the edge of the page. And that's a completed page. I don't do any, I think at one point somebody asked in my Facebook group if I do tape on both sides. I don't. it just takes longer. I think somebody commented that it helps where the pages don't kind of nest within each other. Yes, that would certainly help with that, but I again, it's another step, and I generally skip that. I don't do it. Again, you want to make sure it's flush here, press it down, and then press along to make sure that it's all the way against the page, and cut off. And then we'll move this over here. So I'll continue with the book. Now, the one thing that this page, and you'll see, I may have to make some adjustments to it down the line, but you'll see what I'm gonna do is, it looks like a regular photo book, but there's gonna be some variation to it. So if I look at this, if you've seen a recent video with the hummingbirds where it was 2D, this is kind of the same idea, but instead of just the background that's white, we're gonna do something a little different. So I have a few more pages to do, but then all of a sudden in my pattern there's this strip here. So again, I measured, but I may have to adjust this, which means I may have to cut some of the pattern off to fit something. So you'll see what I mean, but this part we'll cut it out, so you'll see how I'm going to do that part. But for right now, I have a few more pages to do that are still part of the pattern, and then we'll switch to the design. So I'll check back in once I'm done with a few more pages. At this point, I'm about halfway through, and I just thought I would show you the progress and kind of the steps to create the next part of the design. I have the book in on the short end of the book folding stand per tip from one of my subscribers, or one of the viewers, and that makes it much easier to do the 180 marks on these. Now, for the most of the book, I didn't do anything. It was just a regular photo strip going on the book. Going forward, I'm going to mark this section. This is the part that will get folded back. I'm trying to basically create an opening in my design. And as you can notice, some of these pages may kind of nest within each other. I'm not too worried about it. I fix it usually at the end, and then once I add the stabilizing base to it, then everything is fine. So I'll take my 180 marker, and for this I'm using the deepest point to mark the fold. And I'm gonna push this back a little bit so you can see. These are you know, these don't affect my folding because they're staying there, but I wanted you to see on the camera what I'm doing. So I'm going to do this just to, let's see, need a little more weight to hold those pages back. And this is more just so you can see. And as you can see, this is going to be pulled forward. So what I may do actually is, let me put that back down. I will leave the spine as is to make sure that this is at 90 degrees. And once I have this on here, I'll push this back a little bit. But this is the point that I want to mark. And I don't need to go from top to bottom. I'm just marking it this section because that's the only part that's going to get folded back. And I can do multiple pages without really doing anything to the book. And it's a little more awkward because I'm trying to push these back so you can see on camera what I'm doing. But generally I would just let this be and then kind of mark underneath, and it totally works fine. And once I have those pages marked, what I'll do is let me take this way, and this is totally more so you can see what I'm doing. I'll flip this back, which again, I usually keep working on that side of the stand, but this is more so you can see what I'm doing. This is scored right there. So now what I do is I have 3 strips here that I wanted to show you what I'm doing. They kind of got scrambled, so this is the next one. And the part that's being open, or that's cut open here, is this area which is white. That's the part that I'm going to cut out. And I may have to do some adjustment once this book is completely done, just to make sure. the opening is enough for what I plan on doing. So I'm going to put this down here, and I know that part's gonna fall off. I'm just going to add some tape there and then over here. So do this just this way we usually add the photo strips to the book. Put in, make sure this is flush here, press it down. Now nothing's gonna stick right there. That's gonna stick, and then there. And then at this point I'm going to take scissors and cut this, but I'm going to cut this back all the way to the point that's scored, which is back here. That's how far back I want to score this. And as you can see, that fell off because there was no glue there, and this gets folded back, and then also this gets trimmed off. Okay, so that's the pages. And again, I may have to do some adjusting to this opening. I try to kind of gauge based on what I will end up putting in there to make sure that it fits, but if I need to make any adjustments, I'll just cut that hole a little wider. Usually I'll do the top and bottom, but it's basically gonna be top bottom of this section and then top bottom of that section. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm going to do with the rest of it, and the trimming out will be this whole white area, which is the opening that I'm creating in the book. Alright, so I'll continue with the book, and next time I'm checking in, I'm pretty much gonna have the book done, and then I'll show you what I plan on doing with this opening. Okay, this project is finally finished, and for this one I did a horizontal book, as I showed you kind of as I was going along, and this was the part that I carved out. I did end up having to kind of enlarge the hole a little bit after the fact, which worked out fine. Sometimes you need to make adjustments to it like that, so don't give up if something doesn't look right. See how you can make adjustments along the way. But this was the image that I had. And then because it's horizontal book, I did on the ends I added this to kind of stabilize the book, and there is the book. So I carved this out. Now you're wondering, why did I carve that out? I am going to add a snow globe to it. So this is gonna go right into the opening here, and then I have my snow globe in the book. So this is pretty snug in here. It doesn't really move, and it helps that I have these paper ends to hold it, as well as the ribbon, so that way the book doesn't really open. But I took this snow globe, which I do have a link for it in the description box below. It's actually 2 pieces. You can glue this together if you'd like, just to secure it a little more. Honestly, it was a kind of a pain to get this put together. I tried different glues to make sure that this part, or I actually put together, so the rose is made out of Sculpey, and then I glued it to a little bit of background, or I glued a little bit to the bottom of it just so it stays in place. And then I needed that to be glued to the base. And I tried E6000, I tried a glue gun, nothing seemed to work. Finally came across this glue, which is part of the reason it took me a little longer to finish this project. Couldn't find the right glue, but this flex glue is waterproof, works on pretty much everything. So wood, rubber, which was the case here, I was gluing wood against rubber, and that's the part that wasn't working. But then it just goes nicely in here, and you have a display piece for your snow globe. I should hold it this way. Okay, so I've added lights to one of my projects. Now I've added water to it. So I guess what should I add next to my book folding designs? But if you have any questions, comment below. This was a fun one to do. again, the hold up on it was really finding the right glue for the snow globe. And this snow globe, I think it's 2.5 inches in diameter. And again, I have a link for that below as well. All right, well, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, comment below. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And then, of course, feel free to join my Facebook group and post your projects there should you make this one or any other of either designs that I make or your own designs. And again, if you're into other crafts, it doesn't always have to be book folding. You can certainly post different projects that you work on, because we all enjoy, we're obviously not a one craft type of group. So feel free to post your project. So this book is meant to be shaken. All right, I will see you in the next project. Thanks again for watching.